Hey everybody, Maria Marquis from Coda here for the Business in a Box video series. We've been talking a lot about company wikis, starting with the structure, moving into populating it with resources, then creating a company calendar, and now we're going to cap it off by creating an org chart inside of Coda. Now the nice thing about having this org chart inside of a Coda doc is that you can then pull that org chart's information into any of the other docs in your Coda instance. So you could be using this team information across all of your other docs, which we'll take a look at in a later video, connecting this with the other elements. So it's a nice way of creating information once and then being able to populate it everywhere else. So let's take a look at how we can create that great set of information. So here we are inside of our people page. Now we're going to go ahead and give ourselves a little more room. And we can click inside of our org chart subpage to get started. So now what I'll do is I'll start by simply creating a table. So we'll do slash, choose table, there it is. And now we're going to choose to make a new table instead of pulling information from our calendar. Doesn't make sense. So we'll choose new table here. And we'll name it. This will be org chart. And now we can start to populate it. So maybe we want to have the employee, their manager, their team, and maybe their location. Maybe we've got people who are spread out everywhere, so we could choose location and have that just be basic here. So now we can start to populate this. What we'll do is we'll change the column formats depending on what's inside. So for the employee, what we're going to do here is instead of having it be a text column, we're going to choose to make this a people column. What we can do now is we can decide to actually pull people from our Coda instance, so we get a lot of really great information. Now I'm going to toggle off notify when added because I don't want to be sending out reminders or notifications that people are being mentioned. We're going to just leave that off for now. So now if I click on the employee dropdown, it's going to show me the people in my instance, and I can always choose show more if they're not part of my Coda doc yet. So we'll add myself. We're going to add Al here. There we go. We'll go ahead and choose to add Justin. And we'll also choose to add Lauren. Lauren will come along for the ride too. So all of those folks who we just added, they weren't part of the doc initially, but they are part of my Coda instance, so I can use and pull them in here. Now for the manager, what I could do here is I could make this a people column and then select it again, but you could also do something kind of fun, which is actually do a lookup to this other column over here. So we'll go ahead and choose text options, but now we're going to change the format to be lookup. And we could look up to the calendar, but we could also just look up from this table itself. So now from this drop-down menu, I automatically see everybody who's listed in that previous column. So maybe my manager is Lauren, Al's manager is Justin, and Lauren and Justin are just direct right there. So now if I hover over it, I can see all the other details about that person. For the team here, what we probably want to do is make this a select list. So we could go ahead and choose to make this a select list right here. And now we can put all of our team names in here. So we could say this is the really awesome team. And maybe another one is the cool team. And the other one is the radical team. So now we have a drop-down menu where we can just choose that. This is nice for making it really clear, really clean, and standardized. So you don't have some people calling it cool, some people calling it cool team, having all that differences. We could do the same thing for our location over here on the side. So we could make this also a select list. And now, instead of pre-populating, we can also do it right here in our column. So we could say SF and then choose to add it. Maybe Al is NYC, choose to add it. Justin is SF with me, and Lauren is also SF. So you can have that population be going along as you move. So we've got a few things going on here. But now what we can do is we can organize this in a couple different ways. So maybe what we want to do is we want to organize by manager. So what we could do is click that top menu, choose group along the left, right over there, and we could also maybe group along the location along the top. So we can see SF and who's there. We can see Lauren's team and NYC as well. We can also remove these little labels if we want to have that. I always like doing that. It's a bit cleaner. So you can create this new look and feel, and you can move things around and you can expand things as well. So we could go ahead and make that a little bit nicer. So that's one way of doing it. You can also at any time decide to ungroup those columns. So we'll just choose ungroup, and we'll choose ungroup over here as well. So we've got this org chart, we've got these details, but one of the things that I find that people really like to be able to do is to be able to see the organization in different ways. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to add some controls to allow us to do some filtering of this information. So what we'll do is we'll click on here, we'll choose filter, and one of the options we have is an interactive filter. And we can choose to create a control right there from scratch. Now, I've got this automatically set up to filter. So I could say, you know what, let's just see the cool team. And now it's filtered to just show me the cool team. We could also select all of them and see all of the teams at once. And we could do the same thing over here for locations. We could say filter, choose interactive filter, and we could create a control. Now we got a location one. We could do the same thing for manager. So we can click on that, choose filter, interactive filter, and create control. And one of the things I really like to do is I like to just kind of drag and drop things around. And I also like to create these so they're all on one level. So we can just make a nice little across the board dashboard here. So now we could say, show me everybody who is in San Francisco, and show me everyone who is a man who is managed by, in this case, Lauren. So we'll get rid of those other elements here. So everyone in SF managed by Lauren, that's one person. You could also say, also show me just the radical team and everything else. So we've got this nice little built-in dashboard that lets every person be able to see how our organization is put together. And remember, you can always decide to group this detail however you like, but I really love having that filter. It helps people learn a little bit more about the organization, helps them find what they're looking for. Another really cool thing that you can do under your people is you could add a subpage called Get to Know Your Colleagues. And we could take that handy little table that we just made, so we'll choose Table, and in this case we're going to choose from the org chart, and we'll call this People. And now we could decide to look at this in a slightly different way using Detail View. So now we've got a list of everybody. I could search for them, so I could say, hey, show me just Lauren, and I can see all the details. You could even decide to change this up a little bit by clicking on the shish kebab, choosing Customize Layout, and deciding to make this look a little different. Maybe we want to have the bigger heading of the person, we want to have their location in the middle, we could add new columns here for an image, we could do all kinds of things. And then when we're done, we now have more of a business card type view and some commenting capabilities as well. And then again, if we move up to our people, we now see we've got org chart and Get to Know Your Colleagues as two different elements there. So a nice way to kind of take that org chart and make it feel a little bit more personable and allows people to kind of engage with each other in a slightly different way. And of course, remember, now that we have this org chart, because of crossdock, we could pull this information into our task trackers, into our OKR trackers, into any time that we're using people as part of our data structure. So it's a way for you to have that standardization, cleanliness, clarity, and making sure whenever things happen that are updated, everyone gets that update. With that being said, it's time to create your own wiki. Start with the structure, add the resources, go ahead and include a calendar, and then add the people by using an org chart. And if you ever need help, don't hesitate to get in touch with us at support@coda.io. We're here to help, and we can't wait to see what you coda.